my Vert Grinder concept all started with this rail right here. I just wanted to mention that most of the footage I have is of me skating these things. I assume most park creators weren't experimenting with something like this, as I haven't seen any footage suggesting otherwise, which is why I was saving so much content of me skating Vert Grinders. I had a sense that I was, and still am, doing something different than most. However, I didn't have the idea to actually document me building these half pipes for grinding until recently, which is too little, too late, as I already have them finished and ready to publish in my black and gold Vert Grinder park. Fortunately though, I managed to take what little construction footage I did have and still make it work. That being said, this here is when I decided it was about time to add some much needed accessories to the Vert Grinder. Particularly, I felt the drop-in in some sort of bale catcher was essential. The angled QP style railguard acts as a nice combo saver if you can level yourself with revert, and potentially an extender if landed into a manual. eventually I started to feel pretty boxed in and restricted by the drop-in that I had placed right there. So as you're going to see here, I decided to lower and shorten it as to allow me to be able to exit out either side of the Vert Grinder, which is a nice little addition, because as you're going to see, I can actually use that as, if you can land it to a manual and go out that way, it's just an extension of the floor. But if you look, there's also a rail now placed in the middle of that extension, but that there's a rail on either side of the Vert Grinder now. However, by essentially transforming the side box from a drop-in into a floor extension exit, I removed the ability of having that nice raised drop-in, which is where the phantom drop-in comes in. As you can see, it is centered in the middle of the Vert Grinder and placed above it. And I also placed a guided rail-in approach, which gives you the option of just grinding straight into it because it's linked straight to it. It's a nice curved little rail. But I decided to call it the Phantom Grindway because just like a driveway is connected to a house and leads you straight into the house, you know, if it's a connected garage, a driveway, usually the driveway leads to the connected garage and, you know, you'd go straight in. So that was pretty much the same idea there with that rail, is that it's a nice straight grind in. Now, I'm glad I ended up having not one, but two examples of this happening on the footage I have, because it's an interesting discovery. Pay attention to what's actually happening versus what the trick string is not reflecting. Notice the vertical balance bar, which indicates manualing, yet no confirmation in between my double finger flip and shove it. In a way, it sucks as you won't get any points for this, yet I think it's pretty awesome that we can manual so fast the trick string can't register it. For this reason, and in honor of the master himself, I decided to call this the Flash Mullen technique. Alright, now we've reached a point where I've run out of footage on this particular Vert Grinder setup. Naturally, I felt it would be awesome to exit out of a Vert Grinder session and keep the combo going, or perhaps work it into one already started. Yet I liked the setup I had and didn't want to delete it. Also, I should mention that this park didn't start out featuring Vert Grinders, yet was where I conceived and initially materialized the concept. Literally the only theme I had for this park before Vert grinding was that I wanted the color scheme to be representative of Pennsylvania's pro sports colors. Initially I was calling this the Black and Gold Skate Park. So point being is that I was now trying to work Vert Grinders into a work in progress, as opposed to building a park catered towards utilizing them from the start. Which, in case anyone is wondering, I've already started but have put on the back burner until this project is done. All this is to say that I felt having a few Vert Grinders would serve the park well, and I'm glad I decided to keep them in my B&G park. The way in which I place them now makes them not just focal points, but also integral due to what I've built around them. They've completely altered the dynamics of the B&G's flow and functionality. So for the next rail-based Vert Grinder, I already had a particular part of the park I wanted to integrate it in mind.
Unfortunately, I have no build footage for this one at all, yet I can tell you that I essentially just copied then pasted the rail itself and left the rest behind, as I wanted to keep the initial build as well. However, for this to work with the line connection potential I had in mind, I had to raise this one off the ground a few feet, which only adds to the dramatic flair of skating the Vert Grinder. To add to this, I actually made the ends of the rail a little bit longer, which allows for more upwards grinding as well as a more reliable reconnect on the downswing. Essentially, this means if you can ollie higher than the ends of the Vert Grinder, this places it beneath you as opposed to being directly underneath you. Meaning, you have to wait until it is underneath you in order to reconnect on the rail and keep your combo going, you understand? Yet, by then you may have veered off alignment with it in order to do so. Similar to launching out of the end of a half pipe, then you'd have to revert so you don't eat the floor. So, for your safety, please keep the Vert Grinder underneath your hands and feet at all times. Now, as I unpause this, take note of the grind loop exit tracks that I've placed on the ground. It encircles the entire Vert Grinder. This ensures combo continuance after bailing off the Vert Grinder, or perhaps into it from the tracks to continue a combo. Here I've just pretty much swapped out the drop-in for the Phantom launcher because I figured it would be more efficient to have more of a launcher, which it indeed is, as you can see here. Alright, now here's a preview of the final version of the Phantom launcher, plus some skate footage of the black and gold triple Vert Grinder you seen footage of just a minute ago. Well, I wanted to thank y'all for taking the time to watch this. I intend on making a more detailed tour video for my black and gold Vert Grinder park, where it will not just show the different sections of the park, but also skate footage of the different parts of each section. It'd also be a nice way to show some of the lines that I have and you could potentially come up with. Plus, I'm now taking the time to find and name some of the potential gaps that I have and will find in the park. That, and I also haven't featured any skate content showcasing how the Vert Grinders fit in with the rest of the park. Lastly, and for those interested, I have discovered a THPS game mechanics exploitation that I am finishing up a demo video for right now. Plus, I've also created a demo park which focuses on specifically utilizing this game mechanic exploit that is already finished and ready to publish, which I will do so as soon as I finish that demo video soon. So yins know the drill. If you want the intel, you gotta hit the bell. Peace.